Alright, so this is just going to be a little video demonstrating procedural foliage volumes. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to our content browser and we're going to go to Foliage and we're going to create a static mesh foliage. My naming convention is SMF and we'll just call it example tree 1. And so we're going to open it up, I'm going to bring it over here to this screen, and we're going to go ahead and give it a willow tree. I thought this looked pretty. And you can play around with these values here, the collision radius, just so that nothing overlaps. You can change that, make it 150, 200, 1000 if you really want. You can play around with those, get what looks better for you. This shade radius stuff has more to do with the growth and clustering and so on, just to let it be more dense. So here we have procedural scale, how big you want it to get. We're gonna mess around with these values, 0.8 and 2. Here you can change the collision. You can't do this later on. You can of course come back to this, but it doesn't matter. Later on you can't. For example, we're going to actually create the procedural foliage spawner. We're going to call it procedural foliage spawner underscore example. If you go in here, you can see that there's no collision setting, so you do have to do it back here. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and add in our tree. We have a random seed, 42 is the default, I guess. I don't know, a bunch of numbers. Tile sizes in centimeters. But yeah, anywho, that's not as important right now. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. We're going to do that. We're going to bring it into the world. And then this just makes it easier to scale it up. Oops. And yeah, so we go here and we grab the one with 1 and 2. And you can see here now there's a giant volume, but nothing's in it. That's because we've got to go down here and press resimulate. Now you can see that they've got these giant square patches of willow tree. However, this down here doesn't look too bad, but say for some reason you've got maybe a hill over here and you're looking down on it and you can see these lines going through it. Maybe you have a hill over here and you just have these weird lines going through it. Well, that's where we have tile overlap. You can play around with the volumes. I was playing around with it earlier and 150 was pretty nice for me. We just press resimulate and now those lines are not very apparent, at least in my opinion. You can still kind of see some lines. Maybe you could change it to like 500, see if that really, yeah, that really obscures the lines. You can't tell anymore. Like a little bit, but it won't really matter. You add some variation in your foliage and it'll look just fine. So yeah, the other thing I want to show you here is that, say for example, you want to throw in a house. You want to throw a house into here. And we'll use this house here. We're just going to make it a lot bigger just for demonstration purposes. This is an outhouse from Cinti. If I go back into the volume and I press resimulate, I've got a few trees in some funky spots. They shouldn't be there. And to fix this, first thing we're going to do is we're not going to allow static mesh. And then we're going to press resimulate, but now you can see there are some trees inside the house. And so to fix that, you don't find it in here, but rather in here. Your alternative is to do, what, Shift 3? Yeah, Shift 3, and then enable, and then just start painting. But this allows you to keep it in a nice square, or whatever brush you'd like. But you can also do some other things with this. You can go down to volumes, and you will scroll down to procedural foliage volume is what we just made. And I'm not really sure what this would even do, to be honest. But you have here procedural blocking volumes. So say, for example, you wanted a pathway leading up to your beloved outhouse, like so. You would add this in, you would make sure it's overlapping with the volume you have, and if you go back here to the example procedural volume, and you press simulate, now you have a nice path. You can walk up to your favorite outhouse, no problem. So yeah, go out and do Unreal Engine, see what you can do with this. Have fun.